Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Before we get into it, I just want to say there's a bunch of road work that is happening right outside my house. So if you hear anything weird, that's what's going on. I've been waiting for it to stop for hours, but it doesn't look like it's going to stop. So we're just going to have to deal with it. But today we are going to be talking about Dank Demoss. We've talked about Dank a few times. She's also known as Big Dank. She got really popular, or I guess you would say maybe infamous, on social media because she made a post about a Lyft driver that would not basically take her to her destination because he was worried about his car not being able to accommodate her. And that caused a huge scene. We've made a few videos on it. I'm sure you have seen that.
What you saying?
Yeah, I got no space at mom. My car is small.
I can fit in this car.
But believe me, you can.
Yes, I can.
Believe me. So, I'm sorry. Be more specific with you. I got very tired tires.
What I got to do with your tires?
So he said, to be very specific with you, I have very tired tires, I think is what he said. So he basically said his tires are, maybe old or something. I don't know exactly what he's meaning by that. I think it's important to talk about the fact that it seems that they are going to be suing, I'm assuming Lyft, because I doubt that you're going to be suing the driver in this situation. But this is a clip from Fox 2 Detroit.
All unfolded on video. Deja Banlane whipped out her phone when this all happened. Now, the Lyft driver, he was kind enough and apologetic, but refused her a ride and said that she would not fit and that her weight couldn't be handled by his tires. Now she's filing a lawsuit.
But today I wanted to tell a little bit of a story of where Dank came from as well as what is going on now, because she is very much so claiming to be, wanting to lose weight, but there's a lot of conflicting things that are kind of going on. But before we get into what is happening right now, I do want to share a little bit about Dank and how she even became popular. Now, obviously, like we said, that Lyft Uber situation was the thing that really kind of skyrocketed her into infamy or just being famous or just having a lot of attention, right? That was very much so true, right? But she actually, she's been making music, she's a rapper, she's an artist, right? That's like the thing that she does. So she's been doing that for a while. But she also was recently on a reality TV show, which is right here. It's called Deb's House, which aired, on a specific program. I don't really know what this channel is, but it was, relatively popular, and that's kind of where she got her kind of like start, right? And this show, the whole thing was basically trying to find a female rapper, right? That was like kind of the whole thing. Apparently this woman, Deb, is, I learned this from Rachel, so thank you, Rachel, is kind of big in the whole like rap scene. I guess she's like Waka Flocka's mother, which is crazy, but so she's been around a while. And so Dank was on this show. I guess it was, a reality TV show trying to find a rapper, right? That's kind of what the show was based on. And apparently she discovered Nicki Minaj as well. So, clearly she has some talent, right? In being able to find these people. But I found this clip, which is, we can't play the audio because I'm worried about getting copyright strike. But as you can see, the title of this is Dank is sent home for her health. And then it goes on to say, so here she is. This is Deb that is talking to Dank Demoss as she's getting sent home. And I'll just read the captions again just to make it easier. So it says, I'm sending you home because I need you to work on you even when you're up there performing. I still hear you trying to catch your breath. Do you hear me? Right? I actually think Dank is a very, very good artist, but I need Dank to work on Dank. This is for her own good, not only just being a successful artist, but to be able to live. And then she's, she's obviously crying, so it seemed like it was a big deal for her, right? And so, that's kind of the, she said, you got to get it together, right? And so Dank was very upset about this. I think she was obviously very sad, but, it's one of those things that with Dank the size that she is, like trying to perform, that's genuinely a very taxing thing to do, right? Perform on stage. It's one thing just to be standing up there singing, but if you're moving around, all the adrenaline, it's definitely a lot of work. And there was other things. There was a lot of stuff going on in the show, like trying to find clothes for Dank. And there was just a lot of things that were not possible, which I'm sure most of us that have ever been anywhere near Dank's size can relate to, right? It makes life harder. Things that should be easy, right? Things that shouldn't be a problem become a problem, right? Finding clothes, getting your hair done because you can't fit into the seat, right? Like there are so many different things, right, that make it more difficult. And it just basically ended up being like, you can't participate in the show because of your size. And, you know, I think it's very interesting that that was a big part of her online persona for a little bit, right? The person that got sent home from this show because of her size, because then we fast forward a few months or maybe a year. I don't know exactly when the show was out, but a big persona, a big part of who she is, right? And arguably the biggest thing about who she is the fact that she was the one that called out Lyft and sued them because she, she was denied a ride because of her size, right? So this has clearly become a very big part of her personal brand is her size, right? She went by Big Dank for a long time. She still kind of does, but, you know, she goes by Dank Demoss a little bit more, but her size is a big part of her brand. And I don't even really fault her for that too much, because when you're the size that she is and you're trying to be a public figure, if you don't make it part of who you are, like there's just no way anyone's going to take you seriously. And I know maybe that sounds harsh, but I think that's just kind of the truth. You know, when you are that big, you have to mention it. Like it literally is like the elephant in the room. You know, like you can't just be like, I'm not going to mention it at all. Like, come on. You have to like make that part of your persona, in my opinion, right? If you want to be, you know, if you don't want every single comment to be about your size, even though, you know, Dank deals with that. So I just wanted to tell a little bit of a story about Dank and how she kind of got popular and got to the position where she even had the platform to call out Lyft and Uber for that to end up going viral, right? There's a little bit of a story as to how she got popular enough to have any sort of, you know, effect on that kind of thing. The reason that I wanted to tell that whole story was because I wanted to explain that once that show started airing, right, Dank started uploading videos to YouTube. And in my opinion, a big part of the reason she wanted to upload these videos was obviously to capitalize on the show, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But also I think it was almost like she went into defense mode, right? Because regardless of who you are, it's very embarrassing to get sent home from a show and you end up getting sent home for nothing to do with what the show is about, but because you are literally too fat to be on the show, right? That's literally what happened, right? And of course that is very embarrassing, and that's going to be very hard to swallow. And so Dank ended up uploading like different kinds of vlogs. And so this is a vlog this is 6 months ago, right? And I mean, the comments are, you know, people finding this from a month ago. What a scammer. I know you're wrong. You know you're wrong, and that Lyft driver had to write to say hell nah for wrecking his stuff, right? And so, you know, people found this video, but this video was out before the whole Uber thing happened, right? And the title of it is A Week in the Life as a Plus Size Rapper. We're not going to go over the whole thing because a big portion of this is her eating food with, I think it's her mom, or she calls it her mom. I don't know. If that really is her mom in this video, she looks fantastic. But, you know, they're eating food or whatever. But I think this part where she's kind of talking about her weight and stuff is interesting. So we'll go over this right here.
Fucking business, bitch. Baby, one thing I'm not going to do is argue with y'all in the comments and be like, oh, I do be in the gym. Oh, I do eat healthy.
So right here, right? So she's immediately saying, like, I'm not going to argue with people saying that I actually do go to the gym or I actually do eat healthy, right? So I think this becomes a pattern for her, is proving to people that, you know, it's almost like I don't know why I'm the size that I am, you know, because I actually eat very healthy and I'm very active, you know, and I think this is a really common thing for anyone that's bigger, right? Like a lot bigger, is that it's really hard to, one, take accountability. And when you are that size, your life becomes like the things that are normal to you are obviously normal, right? But then once we're able to get out of it a little bit, right? Like I'm able to look back at the things that I was doing at my heaviest and realize, wow, that's crazy that I used to do that, right? It's crazy that used to be a meal that I would eat. It's crazy that's how little I would move my body, right? But that was my normal. And so I didn't think anything about it, right? And I think that's kind of what we see here. But let me continue playing this video.
I just ate a salad yesterday, last night. I'm not doing that shit, boo. I always come paperwork. And just because y'all, you know, put y'all little input on my life and y'all think y'all know me, don't mean that I be trying to lose weight because y'all told me to. I've been on my journey before the show and all that, boo. But I'm not about to waste my breath on people that I don't know.
So, you know, she's like trying to prove to people, oh, I was trying to lose weight before people started trolling me, is basically kind of the message that we're getting here, right? And it's like, I'm not doing this because you're telling me to, I'm doing it because I want to, which if that's true, and I'm sure that it is, that's good. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good thing in my opinion.
And I swear sometimes I don't be wanting to share my journey with y'all, but I got supporters and I got people that love me.
So hearing that, it's crazy. Sometimes I don't want to share my journey, but I have so many supporters and people that love me. Now I'm just going to ask, I'm not going to input anything. Who does that sound like? You know? Let's move on.
That's why I keep going. Bitch, I lost 21 pounds. Fuck is you talking about? All by myself in 1 month. Boo, I done did this shit before. I done lost 60 pounds by myself. Y'all.
So, you know, she's saying she lost 21 pounds. She lost 60 pounds. And the thing that's frustrating is that I hear this so much, right? And it's like, you know, it's good that you're able to lose weight. And like, obviously I hope that you continue doing that, but the goal shouldn't be, oh, I've lost 60 pounds and, you know, I gained it back, but I was able to do that, right? That's not success in my book. And I'm not trying to sound harsh, but the goal is to lose weight and keep it off and like be in a healthier body long term, right? It's not to lose a little bit of weight, gain it back, lose a little bit of weight, gain it back, lose a little bit of weight, gain it back. That's just, you know, that's not the goal. I'm sure you guys know that. You don't need me to tell you that, right?
You know me, y'all know I love me a good smoked sausage. What sausages do y'all get? Fully cooked. I don't know. I never had this before. That's the thing, y'all. So I honestly don't know because I try sausages all the time and be like disappointed. I'm gonna just go ahead and try it, put it in my cart.
What's up, y'all?
So, you know, that's just the clip that I wanted to show you from that video. But the message that I'm trying to share is that, you know, she clearly was, before this whole Lyft thing, was, you know, the vicious cycle, which is what I like to call it, had already kind of started, right? Consistently trying to prove to people that she is trying to lose weight. And in reality, like, posts like this and videos like this they never end up helping and they only end up hurting, right? In my opinion, right? Like, if there are people that are going to have negative things to say, they're going to have negative things to say no matter what you put out there, no matter how much you try and prove that you're actually trying to lose weight or you know, it just ends up fueling, right? It ends up being fuel. You know, I said I wouldn't mention the name, but with ALR, it's the same exact thing. And I think that's like, I've talked about this before, but it's like when we talk about the whole lol cow thing, which if you don't know what that is basically just someone that exists online to almost be made fun of, if I'm being completely honest. And I think like one of the biggest traits about that is they consistently have to prove people wrong or prove everyone why, like what they're actually doing. And I think it ends up never looking good. And as we can see, again, this was happening before the Uber Lyft situation started, and then that whole thing blowing up only made this worse. And there's this other clip right here, which is just from her Instagram. Again, this is from a few months ago, like December of last year, right? So before the whole Uber and Lyft thing. But, you know, this is her working out, right? So again, proof that she was, you know, trying to almost prove to people that she was working out, but also that she was, at least at certain times when she was posting on Instagram, you know, she was still in the gym trying to work on herself, which again is a good thing, right? And so I just wanted to share that because I do think, you know, it's something that she says often, and there is proof on her Instagram that she was at least in some capacity in a gym working out. I don't know how much this was happening. Obviously, it's impossible to say, but you know, there is proof online of her actually doing what she was saying that she was doing. So clearly, right, Dank is trying to lose weight at least, and doing things that you would, you know, I think most people would consider relatively normal things for someone that's trying to lose weight. Now, this is when we get into the whole aspect of like someone that is trying to lose weight and that has a social media following, I think being, you know, you end up getting latched onto by people that I don't think have the best of intentions, in my opinion, and they are trying to also kind of further their own agenda, right? And this is very common. This is something you see a lot on social media. At least I see a lot on social media, is people that get a lot of attention for wanting to lose weight, people that, you know, can see that as a way for them to kind of boost their business. They will attach themselves to that person. Now, what am I talking about? Okay, so this is a clip, or this is a still image from the Breakfast Club interview that we went over on the last video, where this is the person that introduced themselves as Dr. Stormy, or I don't think she ever said she was a doctor, but Charlemagne, who was doing the interview, said doctor, and there was never any like, no, I'm not a doctor, but you know, it is what it is. So why am I showing you this? Okay, so this video right here that is titled, Did I Get Lipo, which I think is a typo, shows Dank in this med spa getting these injections, right? We don't have to go over the whole video, but you know, it shows her getting these injections. It's a relatively short video. It's not super long. And you know, Dank a lot of times doesn't put any description, which, you know, it would be helpful if there was a description, right? But so she is getting these different shots, right? And then so I was curious. I was like, lipo? I was like, what's lipo? What's a lipo shot? I was very curious. So I typed this into Google. Apparently, I think she meant lipo, with just one P. And so what these shots are, again, this is just Google doing the searching, Dr. Google here. It's lipotropic injections, commonly known as lipo shots, are a series of injections that claim to promote weight loss and improve metabolism, right? Lipotropic injections typically contain a combination of nutrients, including vitamins, B12, B6, minerals, choline, and inositol. Please don't judge my pronunciation of these amino acids. The proposed mechanism of action of lipo shots is that the nutrients in the injections help to enhance fat burning, boost metabolism, improve liver function, and reduce appetite, right? And so obviously, I'm sure most of you that have been down the weight loss rabbit hole have, you know, we've heard that a million times, right? And so do you think that this is actually really helping the person? In my opinion, probably not. I think that this is, if anything, it's going to be a more of a placebo effect, you know, and, you know, placebo can be powerful at times, right? It's like you think that it's working, and so therefore it ends up working. But as far as like actually, is it really doing anything for the person, especially, right? And I mean this respectfully, someone that is of Dank Demoss' size, I don't think that is necessary at all. You know, I think that there are, you know, there are things that we can focus on at the bottom of the pyramid before we get to the very tippy top of the pyramid. And I mean, even with these shots, I would say that this is like a completely different pyramid that's like not really related in my opinion, of course, right? But it's like, let's focus on being in a deficit calorically and moving our body as much as we can, which Dank, you know, to her credit, can move her body much more than a lot of other people at her size. And I think that's a good thing, right? And so focus on all of those things before we're worried about getting these shots, getting these injections. Like it's just focusing on the minutia before we're focusing on like the meat and potatoes of what we need to do when it comes to losing weight, right? And so clearly there are people that are kind of attaching themselves to Dank because they, I think, can see a way for them to make some money, get some exposure, which clearly did work, right? The Breakfast Club is a huge show that they were all on. And so, you know, that's something that's going on behind the scenes as well. So all of this was happening before, you know, the whole, you know, the whole Lyft situation happened, right? So this was all kind of happening before. But recently, I think Dank is, again, kind of continuing to go down this road of consistently trying to prove that, you know, there's... And I don't even know why, because, like, you know, when you're the size that Dank is, clearly you are overeating, right? Like, it's just, that's just happening, right? And it can feel like it's not fair. It can feel like I'm not eating that much, but trying to prove to people that you're not, like, maybe you're going to convince some people that don't know much about this stuff, but anyone that has any sort of knowledge about calories in, calories out, and, like, I don't know. It just seems kind of pointless, right? And so this is a post from 5 days ago, right? This is on Instagram. And she goes on to write, instead of beating others down who try to beat me down, I like to prove people wrong and excite me. This is the first episode of What Does the Fat Girl Eat? Where there are days where I'm ashamed because I messed up, and most days where I'm proud. Take a walk in my life as I show y'all everything I eat in a day, right? And so this is a video of her kind of trying to prove that she's, you know, she doesn't eat super unhealthy all the time. And so let's see what she ends up showing in this video.
And welcome back to another video. And this is the first episode of What Does the Fat Girl with the PHE. I decided to make this a little like episode series thing because a lot of people think that us bigger women or bigger men just eat bad all the time, all day. Like, that's what.
So it's this desire to prove that, you know, oh, I don't always eat bad. I don't always eat terrible. But at the end of the day, like, you don't have to eat quote unquote unhealthy foods, right? It doesn't have to be McDonald's, right? It can be anything. If you are in a surplus for the week or for the month, that is what is doing the damage, right? And so trying to show a day of eating where maybe you're eating a little bit less than normal, it just doesn't make sense, because there's no hiding from the scale, right? There's no hiding from when that number is going up. You know, when your size is 500 pounds, there's no hiding. Like, I only ate a salad. Like, it's just silly to kind of try and prove. I know that, I think part of it is like you were living in a certain kind of denial where you're just like, no, I'm only eating, you know, healthy meals. And because you almost have to tell yourself that, because you don't want to believe that, like, you know, the choices that you made led you to where you are. But like, if you're someone that really wants to make serious change, I think one of the most important things is being seriously honest with yourself and with others. And I think with Dank and like the position that she's in, it's really hard for her to be honest with others because her online persona is so about proving other people wrong, that this, in my opinion, seeing where this is headed is not in a good place, because like consistently trying to prove other people's wrong and like your entire online persona becoming that, all you end up attracting are people that just want to see you basically fail, right? You end up becoming a lol cow, and that's what, in my opinion, kind of ends up happening here, right? If you look at the top comment on this, I don't think anybody wants to see you posting food, LOL, right? It's just, and then that's like, it doesn't end well, right? But let's continue watching.
Sleep and live is bad, greasy, you know, food, you know. So y'all know me, I'm the guinea pig. I'm always here to set shit straight. I'm always here to set the bar, okay? Don't get me wrong, I do be having my days where I might cheat or I might F up and be like, damn, I know I should never had that shit. Okay, let's get it together.
So she's, you know, she's saying, oh, I might have those days every once in a while where I eat what I shouldn't. Like, it's important to understand that, like, if those days are happening frequently, it is going to basically cancel out the quote unquote good days, right? And so that's why it's important to not do things that are like super extreme to where you're like, man, I feel like I'm deprived all the time. And then you're like, okay, well, I only had a few cheat days this week. A lot of times those cheat days, the amount of calories that you eat ends up putting you in a surplus anyways, right? And you end up not losing anything, or you end up being just, you know, at maintenance or whatever, and you don't lose anything. But even though you feel like you're trying really hard for 4 days out of the week, right? Regardless of how hard you're trying those days, if you end up overindulging significantly on those other 3 days, it's going to be for nothing, right? It's going to be for nothing.
moments, but most of the time I love me a refreshing ass meal, and I love me something that's fresh, something that I'm like, damn, the gardener took her time making this, like, or she took her time growing these fucking vegetables, or she took her time, like.
So we saw her get like a wellness little shot thing, right? But then she ends up getting this drink, which again, like, we don't know exactly what's in it, right? But a lot of times these, like, you know, these juices, right, where you end up putting a bunch of fruit and a bunch of vegetables in these juices, I personally don't think it's the best option, especially if you're trying to lose weight, because you get a ton of the calories, and I don't want to say like sugar, because that ends up make people feel like they're afraid of sugar, but like you end up getting a lot of calories, and you end up taking away a lot of like the nutrients and the fiber in the fruit and vegetables that, you know, it just, I don't know, it's this, we have this idea of like, oh, this is a healthy thing, but it would just be better to drink water. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to lose weight, you know what I mean?
Be a nail farmer, you know, like, I love me something fresh. So anyway, I went to Beyond Just for an Eatery. I've came here before with my mom after we, you know, came from the gym or whatever. It's always cool to have something refreshing after the gym, you know, because I don't know.
So again, right, it's always good to have something refreshing after the gym, right? So again, it's trying to prove to people, oh, I go to the gym, I actually work out. And it's, again, it's like this consistent need to try and prove yourself, right?
But me, I be a little hungry after I leave the gym. Like, I done worked off all these calories I done ate, you know, so I ain't trying to put the calories back on, so I'm about to give me something refreshing. Anyways, y'all, I got me a chicken Caesar wrap with spinach, a spinach wrap. Anyway, I got that. And I got me a True Green refresher. Whatever.
So a chicken Caesar spinach wrap thing, and this, like, you know, drink, whatever it is, right? This is one of those foods, and like these are one of those places where the health halo is very strong, right? We think that in basically anything at this establishment is going to be healthier than just having whatever food, even if I made it at home, right? This is much better than if I were to, you know, make a salad at home, or if I were to, I think it's like the best intentions, but a lot of times there's so many extra calories in these, you know, these wraps, especially in these drinks, to where like you think you're doing what is the right thing, but you're ending up eating so many more calories than you need, right? I think a good example that's very kind of in a similar niche is like acai bowls. I remember they were really popular a few years ago. I feel like they've kind of waned off a little bit, but this is like the same kind of person and the same kind of posts. I could see, oh, I got an acai bowl after I worked out. That's healthy. When in reality, this is my own interpretation, but this is how I feel. I think I tweeted this out a few years ago, but it's like, acai bowls are just frozen yogurt for people that have, like, you know, a weird relationship with food, right? Because that's what a lot of times it ends up being with all of this stuff that gets added on top, you know, the honey, the peanut butter, the granola. Again, I'm not saying that those things are bad, but it's the amount that you end up eating because you think it's healthy ends up going against what you're actually trying to do, right? And I feel like that's probably something that happens a lot here is like, oh, this is quote unquote healthy, so I shouldn't have to worry about how much I'm eating. When in reality, that's something you should, you know, certainly be worried about, right?
I love me a fucking refresher. Like, I am a Starbucks girl, and I'm a refresher girl, okay? But anyway, I got this, y'all. First of all, it was a small, but I needed some ice. So I'm like, can I just get a large cup of ice? Girl, that small filled up this whole little thingy. Anyway, but the refresher, it was really good. Like, I love it. Like, I can taste the grass. I can taste the kale, the apple, the lemon.
I can taste the grass. I'm sorry, that does not sound good at all, but
like I said, I love stuff like that. And then this wrap, I'm not a big fan of this wrap. I just feel like it needed a little more Caesar dressing.
So there you go. Oh my gosh, man. This is like, so she's not a fan of the wrap because it doesn't have enough Caesar dressing, right? And I think that encapsulates the health halo of food so well, right? Because if this ended up having probably the amount of Caesar dressing that she would have wanted, right, it would have probably been so many calories, right? And that ends up being the problem, is that we have these ideas of, like, this is a healthy food and I can have whatever I want and I could eat as much as I want. In reality, you know, if she ends up, like, you know, say dipping it in, like, you know, a ranch sauce, that's going to be no better than just going to McDonald's, right? But we don't feel like it's the same thing. So this perpetuates this idea that I'm working really hard and I'm trying everything I'm doing everything that everyone says I should be doing, and I'm still not losing weight. See, that's why they're wrong, and that's why there's something wrong with me, and I have a problem, and no one understands it, and I'm a medical mystery, and no one can crack the code, right? It's because, and I'm not even saying that means that she's a bad person, but this is super common, right? And I'm saying this from experience. I used to think the same thing. There's something wrong with me. I don't know why I can't lose weight. I don't have a metabolism. That was a joke I would say, right? It was this feeling like I am special and there's something wrong with me that doesn't affect other people, right? And a lot of it gets perpetuated by these ideas of, like, you know, these different foods that have these different health halos around them, and we think that they're healthy, and then you know, the way that we're eating these certain foods are not that healthy, and then it ends up being way more calories than we had assumed, right? So I don't know. I know that I'm kind of going off on this, but it's just very interesting to see this, right? From her, who seems to be, you know, she talks all about, like, health and all this stuff, but it seems that there's still a lack of knowledge there, right?
So from a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to rate it a 3 because I spent $26 on this meal and I'm going to eventually eat it and finish it.
So she spent $26 on this. She rates it a 3. But again, it's like, and that's the problem, right? Is that, like, oh, you know, healthy food is just so gross. It's like, when you go this route, and it's gross and it's expensive and it's hard to lose weight because I can't afford it, right? There's certainly an argument that we can have about, you know, the accessibility of food and stuff like that. But again, it's things like this that end up perpetuating and making that argument even harder to make, because you could have made 3 really healthy, simple meals that would have been probably less calories than that one wrap for $26, right? But again, it's, oh, this is a healthy establishment that makes healthy meals. And in reality, if you would have just avoided the liquid calories, made this wrap at home, you could have made 2 wraps, 3 wraps, right? For the same amount of calories. And you would have been more satiated. Again, I know I'm kind of going off, but it's frustrating seeing this, right? Because again, it just perpetuates this idea of, oh, there's something wrong with me and people don't understand and they'll never get it, right?
It was good, you know, it was okay. But y'all, let me tell you something. Like, I went to go get my weight check today, and my weight is at, like, a fucking plateau. Like, no, baby, this is not the way we want to be. This is not where we're stopping at. Like, you know, it's time to get it together. My gym videos are coming back. Bye, see y'all again.
So, and then at the end, right, you hear she's complaining about being at a plateau and she doesn't really understand it, right? And so, again, it's just, like, this is a perfect representation of, I'm sure, a lot of different people. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to, you know, say, oh my God, she's so stupid for doing this. This is very common. This is a lot of people. But it's interesting seeing it from someone that is so clearly wanting to prove to others that they are doing everything in their power to lose weight, right? And clearly, I think that there are just some missing elements. And I think a big part of it maybe is just the education, you know, the lack of education about nutrition, because, you know, she has these people that claim to be experts, that are doctors, that really are just people that work at med spas that are trying to inject her with stuff and trying to promote their brand, right? And so it's frustrating because I do think that, you know, I hope that Dank is successful in this weight loss, but I don't feel like the people that are around her are helping her in the best way possible. That's everything that I really wanted to share right now. I think it is just very interesting, the path that Dank is taking right now. I don't personally think it's the most healthy way to, you know, promote yourself as an artist. And it seems that that's what her passion is, you know, making music, but it is very intoxicating, getting a lot of attention online and wanting to go that route. But I don't think that she'll be happy going the route of, you know, basically what it seems like to me of, like, the lol cow, like, I'm just going to prove people wrong all the time and every post is going to be about how wrong everyone is. I just don't think that's the way that, you know, she wants to go. I hope that she's able to end up losing the weight and, you know, kind of chase the dreams that she has, because it seems like, you know, before all of this virality and all these people talking about her, she did have a solid group of people, a solid fan base of people that wanted to support her, that felt that she was talented, right? We talked about in the very beginning of this video with that show where, you know, there were people that really wanted to see her succeed, but her size was just making it so that wasn't possible, right? And so I hope that Dank is able to lose the weight, but I just hope that she's able to do it in a way that is, you know, sustainable for her, and that she's able to find a way that actually works, right? And so I just thought it was interesting, and I wanted to share that with y'all. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, dropping a like, a comment, all of that stuff really helps. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.